I'm more than a little happy today to be doing this interview. And one of the things that's very important to me is that oftentimes you hear of the negativity that's going on in the community, and there are some negative things that are going on, but there's a lot of good things that are going on too. So I'm very happy to report to you have an interview today with the young lady who's the executive director of an entity that played an important and meaningful and successful role in my life. And before I introduce her, I think it's important to know that because one grows up in the ghetto and because one is not particularly favored with money does not mean that he or she cannot be successful. I think it's having that determination and having the love and having the desire to be successful. So I don't like for people to make an excuse, about their environment, because oftentimes we go through tough things, but if you're determined, you can make it. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
And I'm your host, Alex Habersham, having the pleasure today of interviewing Miss June Parker, who's Executive Director of the Macon Housing Authority. In a minute, I'm going to give her all the time she wants to talk about the programs, the initiatives, the facilities, and all the future, and all of the great things that the Housing Authority is doing. But I just want to say this. I know you didn't build Temple Heights back in 1940, but whoever built it, I'm so grateful because that's where not in 1940 now, that's where I grew up. I lived my whole childhood was in the Temple Heights housing projects, that's what we call it then. And I think I came out pretty good. And Temple Heights, that housing authority, that housing project played a role in whatever success that I've had. And, as one who's now a part of it, I just want to publicly say thank you. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. There are so many things going on with the housing authority. So I want to begin, because it's important, with your collaboration. You've got two facilities I know about. It may be more. You got, the Buck Melton Center, and you've got what's the other center in East Macon?
The Family Investment
The
Center.
Family Investment Center. Talk about those two facilities and what they have to offer to the community.
Okay, I'll start with Buck Melton Center. We have a large number of partners that we work with that are there on a daily basis. We have the Boys and Girls Club. We have the Head Start, Macon-Bibb County Head Start, Macon-Bibb County Outreach, Unity and Community. We have the Sheriff's, and I actually had to write some of them down, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
The Sheriff's Department Outreach, Women, Infants, and Children, most people call WIC, United Way of Central Georgia. We have the Central Georgia Technical College that provides computer classes in the afternoon.
Wow.
And throughout the day for the residents, not only our residents, but the residents in the community.
Wow.
And we have, we use it quite often ourselves, but it is anytime you have an opportunity, please stop by. You'll always see activity going on there.
Right.
It makes a tremendous difference in the lives of our residents.
It does. And then I was honored by the NAACP last year, and I was one of the recipients of an award, and they had it there.
There, we did.
Okay, now let's go. I got a personal history with the Family Investment Center too. I used to be on the board of Economic Opportunity Council or some kind of entrepreneurial organization that Reggie Bell was the executive director of, and there are other programs over there also.
Okay, and at the Family Investment Center, we once again have Central Georgia Tech is famous. Another program that we are very, very excited about is the Motivating Youth.
Right.
It's Roger Jackson.
Right.
One of the things that right after he started, and he not only has an afternoon program, but he tutors. He has volunteers that come in and tutor the children. And they have their Wall of Honor, which is where these children are now making the honor roll.
Right.
And he has such an impact on the children. We have the Phillips Children's Performing Arts that comes out there.
Right.
And I don't know if you've had an opportunity to see them perform. It is
I know Gwen personally, yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
they're quite good.
Yeah.
Actually, week before last, we had Cox Communication to donate 16 new computers for, we call it the Cox Communication Lab, for the adults to come in and have access to the internet. We have 7,000 men, or family counseling centers there, prime care, home care. And I'm hopefully not missing anybody.
That's
because
okay.
it's Mercer University Educational Outreach.
Right.
So we have a significant number of partners that come in, and they're there on a daily basis or regular basis, but quite often someone will come in and use it for a specific program.
Right.
So it's these kind of things make us so happy that we're having a positive impact in our communities.
Well, not only that, I'm a stickler for advertising and promoting and letting people know about resources. Now you got 10, 15 organizations, located in these two facilities that are run by Macon Housing Authority. And this is Ms. June Parker, who's the executive director. And so, one thing, Ms. Parker, that I really try to emphasize, people are always having problems. We all have problems. But the thing that I want to emphasize is that in most instances, 90% of the time, there's a community resource
100% correct.
that can help individuals with any problem that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I teach at the Transitional Center, and I tell those residents down there, I said, before recidivating or doing something bad when you have a problem, try to think of the resources, be it physical, mental, spiritual, economic, or academic. Mm-hmm. There are resources in the community to assist with all of those things. Well, let's talk about, I heard you use the number of, I think 900 and something, because I know at one point there used to be 2,000 units, but isn't that some kind of transformation rather than all of them being just public housing?
Yes, sir. We currently only have 1,168 what we call traditional public housing units. HUD came out with a program several years ago where we could transition from public housing to Section 8. It's still affordable housing. We still are meeting our mission of providing affordable housing for our residents. But doing so, we are able to actually take loans. We're taking out loans to do renovations, because with the continued cuts in HUD funding, we don't receive the amount of money for the capitalization projects that we did in the past. So how can we continue to provide, it's affordable housing, but it's safe, it's nice housing. We don't want to just provide any housing, we want good housing that our residents are proud to be in, that we're proud to say that we own it, or, well, HUD owns it, but that we have this and we're taking care of it for our residents.
Well, it's playing an important role because you're providing safe havens and homes for women and children, and and they're proud. I went through. Now I get it right, because you got Bird City. You could tell I'm old school, and then you got Alphabet City. It was Bird City. I had the opportunity to go through Swan Drive. Yes, just yesterday, and I just noticed. It looked just like any other subdivision. It was clean, the yards were cut, no old cars hanging around. So I think that bespeaks of the kind of job that you all are doing as it relates to keeping up public housing and providing a safe haven, safe resident, a safe place for people to live. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham. We're going to take a break. Attention, Central Georgia. It's that time again for the publication of the new 2015-16 Macon Middle Georgia Black Page. So you want to be a part of it, because the theme is Make More Green in 2015. Call today, 478-464-0074, and find out how we can help you make more green in 2015.
This is Virgil Adams with the personal injury law firm of Adams, Jordan, and Harrington. For over 25 years, our law firm has provided quality, professional legal representation to the people of Macon, Middle Georgia, and the state of Georgia who have been seriously injured. Through our well-earned reputation of caring, we have recovered millions of dollars for our clients and those who have been referred to us by other lawyers who seek our level of expertise. Adams, Jordan, and Harrington, seeking justice for the injured.
In continuation of my interviews of people who provide resources to the community, I thought it would be only fair if we bring a person in who could talk about business and going into business and improving business and a business plan and discouraging you from going into business if you cannot be successful because of the need for a business plan. So I have with me today Mr. Josh Walton, who's with the SBDC of the University of Georgia Small Business Development Center. I was struggling because I couldn't think of what it meant. You know who's going to talk? Small Business Development Center, which is under the auspices of the University of Georgia. He's the person in charge. I don't know whether we ought to call him executive director, but he'll tell you what we should call him. This is a call to action.
Call to action.
And I'm your host, Alex Haversham. Thank you for coming, man.
You're welcome.
You know,
Thanks for having me.
yes, sir. It's good to have you because, you know, one of the answers to the American dream is to go into business. And then I want you to talk about all of the programs and resources. But I want to begin with this statement. And then you could just piggyback on that.
Okay.
A lot of people think because they are good artisans, because they are good technicians, that they are good decorators, that they are ready to go into business. And oftentimes people spend good cooks. So oftentimes people spend a lot of money because they know that skill or that trade and think that they are ready to go into business. But there's a lot more, you know, that's involved in having a successful business. So tell us about your organization and tell us about some of the services, all of the services
Okay.
of your organization.
Okay, I'd be happy to. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Alex. It's good to always get together with you and talk about business and what we can do in the community. The University of Georgia Small Business Development Center is an extension service, a unit of the Public Service and Outreach Division of the University in Athens. And we serve for-profit small businesses. Our network includes 17 offices throughout the state, so every county's covered. Our center here in Macon, I'm the area director of the center, and we have 2 business consultants in our office and a program coordinator, so we have a staff of 4. We have a 19 county service area, so we travel from up to Monroe County, Lamar County, all the way out to Troutman, Wheeler, and Soperton, Georgia, so we cover a pretty wide area in Middle Georgia. And we provide one-on-one consulting services to small businesses. That could be anything from marketing and developing a marketing plan. If it's a startup business, it might be a business plan. It could be financing. We spend a lot of time in helping small businesses find the right fit for acquiring financing, whether it be an investor or a lender or some other economic development type financing. We help them put that package together, and those one-on-one consulting services are free of charge.
Wow.
So we're funded through a sort of a collaborative effort between the SBA, which is a federal agency, Small Business Administration, and the University of Georgia. So and we also have various programs that we'll get into maybe a little later that we can raise some program income sponsorships and that sort of thing. But primarily our mission is twofold. It's consulting on a one-on-one basis with these businesses, and it's providing the programming and the education in a group setting. So those services we do charge for just to recoup our costs and keep the programs going. But again, the one-on-one consulting services are free of charge. So that's kind of in a nutshell who we are and what we do, and how we deliver our services.
Now, what's the name of this called? Smart.
We have a program going on right now, since you brought it up, in our Macon office called Start Smart. We do that in the spring, typically, and that is a program that's usually a 5 to 8 week program, some half days, some full days, 1 day a week. And we've got a collection of some folks that are in business. We try to keep those participants to 2 years in business and under. So we do have some startup companies in there. We do have some existing business owners who have new projects or new ventures. And we talk about it's mostly about the business planning process, understanding the finances, understanding the marketing plan, understanding your market, how you're going to get your product to market, and the processes and systems of a business, the organization, and how you set that up, and what your organization might actually look like, and how you're going to run it. So we concentrate on that during that program. So
and I haven't done it. I didn't know it. I'd probably be worth a whole lot more money. Seriously, if I had known about the real importance of a business plan when I started my business. And what I tell individuals who come to me is that the good part, and I want you to talk in depth really about the business plan, but I said what a business plan can do, a couple of things. It makes you think about every element, or every activity that's involved in going into a business, and it can change your mind. A lot of people who invested a whole lot of money into a business and lost it probably wouldn't have lost it had they worked on that business plan, because it tells you all the requirements and resources that you have to have. So talk about the business plan and the importance of it.
Sure. Well, it's extremely important, not only for startup businesses, but for existing businesses. If things stayed the same all the time and markets didn't change, then there wouldn't be much. The planning may not need updating. But in terms of starting a company, I think it's very important to have a vision, to have a mission. What are we going to be accomplishing, and where are we going with this business? Then there's sort of the description and how you set the business up, how many people we're going to have, what markets are we going to serve, how are we going to get our product or service to that market, and then there's the financial aspect and sort of what we call the economic model. Will this idea or concept make money? At the end of the day, we gotta know that that there's a market for what we're doing, and that it can earn us a living, and our employees a living. So the other part is the exit strategy. And once we've set up a business and got our plan and we hit the ground running, then what are we going to do with it years down the road when it's reached maturity, and we got to make some hard decisions there. So I would say the passion, the vision, mission, the financial feasibility, the market plan, and the organizational structure. That's kind of in a nutshell a true business plan and what some of the things it needs to be composed of.
Now, let me tell you what, this is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Mr. Josh Walton, who's the area director of the Small Business Development Center of the University of Georgia. Let's talk a little bit more about, and I know it's all interrelated, but a lot of people come to me. I'm in the advertising business. I'm not ashamed of it. I publish the Black Pages. And then, of course, I understand the importance of marketing. And it's not just, from a personal perspective, but a lot of these small businesses and larger businesses, come to me and say, well, I can't afford to advertise in the market. Well, I hope this is the right word, but that's a dichotomy, oxymoron or whatever. Well, it doesn't make much sense to me, because marketing is directly related to income and how much money. Talk about that for me.
Sure. Depending on what type of business you have, it is going to determine how you market that business. And the best example to talk about marketing in sort of this new era of business, which is much more challenging for most businesses, is the internet and the ability to reach more people through social media outlets, web pages, online outlets than we could before. So that's really changed how a lot of businesses have marketed. But I tell you, and I tell people this all the time, to go out and just buy radio ads or buy TV ads or put ads in the newspaper or whatever it may be, before you do that, you really need to assess who your customer is and how are they making buying decisions.
Right.
Where are they going to get their information to make purchases and so forth? If we're buying radio and TV ads and our market is on Facebook, our customer or prospect is on Facebook, we may not do too well, or newspaper versus Facebook or something like that. So I think the mistake we make in marketing is a lot of us, a lot of companies throw a lot of money at it in various outlets, and they don't really know. It's kind of a throw it against the wall and see what sticks mentality, rather than a more targeted, researched approach to see where are our customers or potential customers actually going to buy their services and products and services. So that's the one thing I'll say about marketing. And an overall marketing plan. You may have an overall marketing plan that calls for 3 or 4 different service or market deliveries, to get your ideas, to get your product or service out there. So we see a lot of companies that don't have an overall marketing plan, perhaps.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. I heard you say you got 4 individuals in your office. Yeah. And I don't want you to be swamped, but now it's true that you are available, to try to help anybody.
We are.
Who is in business,
yep.
Anyone who is interested in going into business, anyone who may be having a problem with a certain element of business, and that's the nature of the kind of services that SBDC provides. Now, let me hastily say, and I say it all the time, because I'm a firm believer in resources.
Yeah.
So the SBDC is an important resource. If you're in business, if you're making money, if you're not making money, if you want to go into business, if you want to improve your business, if you want to put together a business plan, if you want to borrow some money, just any kind of problem that you're having, any kind of desire that you're having to either go into business or improve your business. So talk about that process as it relates to an individual who may be out there.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. Our client base is one thing that we have to do, Alex, to our funding sources. We have to provide impact. So in a sense, we're an economic development organization. We have very specific metrics that we have to sort of prove back to our funding sources. So we have to prove that we're creating jobs or helping businesses create jobs, helping them grow sales, helping them acquire capital, those type things. So it's not just... and we take that very seriously. So that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say is the process is sort of for an existing business, perhaps. Let's use that as an example. And it's a capital acquisition or financing need to acquire equipment or add on to a building or something. That we would go in and help them do a full financial analysis of their statements, maybe for 2 or 3 years, something like that, or more, and help them determine the cash flow effects of that expansion, and maybe help them project what it is they're trying to do in terms of gaining revenue, or it's a new product, service, whatever, and sort of help them see on paper what this is going to do for the future of their company. And that process would include financial analysis, maybe a look at the market if they hadn't, maybe provide some research we have access to through the university that could help them identify potential customers for that expansion and whatever it is they were doing. So the process would be just as many one-on-one meetings by email, phone, in person, site visits, in our office. There's no limit to that. So we've had customers that we've worked, or clients that we've worked with for for 10 years or so in our office. So it's an ongoing relationship.
Let me ask you a question. Is it possible, for a client or potential customer to call you, to just have a telephone call? Sometimes you can tell in the first 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Whether, and I know you're very busy and you want to help people.
Sure.
So do you want them to come in, or would you like for them to just call and kind of give you an overview?
Yeah.
Do they have to make an appointment, or
Well,
can it be both, or whatever?
sure. For folks that call in and don't know us, the first time, maybe it's somebody that has an idea about a business, or a startup, for example. Our program coordinator usually takes that call, and we have a sort of a screening process to see how much work they may or may not have done. Depending on the amount of work that they've done, we might recommend a program or a class. We may, if they've gone to the point where they've done some planning and done some research, we may get them in for an appointment and just see how far along they are. And if there's somebody we need to continue to work with, then we will.
But at least you can direct them.
That's right. We can direct them with the
so they
right
can call you and say, hey,
That's
this
right.
is what I want to do, this is what I have, this is what I'm thinking, how should I proceed?
Right, that's right.
So then you could refer them to
Sure.
some websites and some
Sure.
resources. How does one get in touch with you, either electronically
Sure.
or over the internet?
Our telephone number here in Macon is 478. My direct line is 478-757-4790. Our email address is my email address is jwalton, JWALTON at georgiasbdc.org. And georgiasbdc.org is our website, and there they can go and see all of our centers and all of our contact information. So those are probably the best ways.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I want to thank you for the services that SBDC provides, and I encourage those of you who are in business or want to go into business and who need some assistance to call the SBDC or go to their website and get the help that's available to you, and I'm sure that you will be glad you did. I want to thank Mr. Josh Walton, who's the area director of SBDC, and I applaud you for your knowledge and your willingness to help this community. And really, if you got a good idea want to go into business, we can hire more people. Small business is important.
That's right.
The whole community, the whole country, wants small businesses to succeed. So don't get rid of the idea. Just go to the resources to help you make sure that it'll work. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham. Have a great day.
Thank you, Alex.
www.maconblackpages.com